Okay, so on the benches, we're going to come out 20 inches. They're going to sit, the front of them, 20 inches, which is, I'm kind of coming out, it's this line here. So the front of my bench is going to come out to here. And what I'm considering is, do I make the bench the entire width of this, or do I bring it in? And I think what we're going to do is we're going to bring this bench in about 6 inches from the end, because the top of this table sits now I'm 21, I'm just under, I'm 21 to the top of these supports and 3/4, so I'm 21 3/4 high. So we're going to be putting a drawer in the center here that pulls out and becomes a step up, and that will be fine to get you to here, which will be the floor. And that's the piece in my own head I've had to keep remembering. This isn't the bed, this is the floor. So when we step up to this floor, the bed will be on the tops of these benches, which will sit 14 inches high. So the bed's actually going to be this much higher. So what I don't want to do, and I want to be careful of, is not to bring the bed all the way out to the edge, so you kind of come out to that, and then you have to hoist yourself up on top of the bed. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to inset this back about 6 inches. So I'm 60 inches in total. So we're going to come back in. I was originally going to go 54, 55 inches and give myself 5 or 6 inches here as an extra step up. And I don't think it's a waste of space. It's a step up, which will help. But I think where it's really going to help us out, or it'll help for a step. But we can still utilize the space, because if my bench comes to here, I can still put some kind of storage here, whether it's for magazines or cell phones or something of that nature. So we can always utilize that space, but we still create a step there, a step up here, and then you're onto the bed. So that's kind of the plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my bench. I think I'm going to come in 5 inches. If I come in 6 inches, that gives me 54 inches divided by 2, so I'm 25, 26, 27 inches. Is that right? 25 and 25 is 50. And if I'm coming 54, I need an extra 4 inches. So, yeah, 27 inches. And what 27 inches matters is, how wide am I? So as I'm sleeping this way, the piece I need to make sure is that I have, for 2 of us to sleep, I have enough width-wise for each person to comfortably sleep there. So if I kind of go across the side here, my shoulders are basically sitting easily within 24 inches. So, if I'm laying like this, I'm 24 inches. I have 3 inches of extra. My wife is quite a bit smaller than I, so she doesn't even have 24 inches. So it gives us ample space, and it's not like we're sleeping on our back all the time. You get on your side now, that width-wise even whittles down. So I think with 54 inches across, I think we're going to be just fine. I think that might be the size of a full bed or something like that, and we've slept in plenty of those in our years that I think we'll be good to go. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to make the benches 54 inches. We're going to come out 20 inches. Remember, these benches are going to be storage, so they're going to lift up, and we'll have storage all down the side here, which will work out well, because the fact that we're going to be sitting up so high, we're giving up our cabinets up here. So we're not going to have that storage up here, but that's fine, because we're going to have the storage within the bench. So instead of having a cabinet up here, we're just going to have a cabinet down here and storage down below. So I think we'll end up being fine. And I have bees flying around me here. They kind of like the color of the van, I guess, or the lights. Not a fan of bees. But so we're going to go 54 wide. or long, I guess I should say. 54 long. And my pencil just broke. So 54 long. And put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. So I got 54 long. I'm going to come out with the bench itself, because I'm going to have the lid of the bench that's going to reach back behind the bench, and that's fine, but I want to be able to mount the bench right on the wood here. So I'm going to come out with the bench to this 20-inch mark. So I'm going to come out 20 deep. And we already calculated that I need the bench in total, I need it to be 14 inches high. The table pedestal we have lowers down to, I think it's 12.5 inches. I want to give it a little bit of play, and on the front of these benches there'll be a lip of wood that the table will sit down in. So I want the top of the bench on either side to come up to 14 inches to give me a ½ inch to an inch of play in the table itself going down. I don't want to, ride it that close and we end up being a little off, and then I got this hump in the bed. So we're going to go to 14 inches high in total. And the framing of the bench, again, I said it's going to be 2x3, so we'll do 4 2x3s lengthwise. Tie them together with 3 on the bottom. We'll do 3 on the side, or 3 on the front, 3 on the back, and then I'll line that with ½ inch plywood. And the front again was going to be the beech ½ inch plywood, so it's a nice finish. And what I have is like a 1/4 inch poplar that will kind of shaker face the front of it and make it a nice look, so when we paint it, it kind of looks cool. And the top, I'm probably going to go 2 lids lift up, and to make sure then we have the storage down below. The only custom piece of this is going to be in the back of this, where I need the back of it to come back a little extra. So if I'm here, I'm going to want to reach back about 2 inches from here. So that's going to give me, if I go 2 inches back, that's going to give me in total, so I'm 69 inches, 70, 71 inches, and I'm 5'11", so that 71 inches gives me exactly the height I need. I'm actually 5'10.5", so that gives me an extra ½ inch of play. Not a ton, but that's fine. Again, I'm not going to sleep like a mummy necessarily, but that gives me enough room that I don't have to do this back and forth. If somebody else was here and a little bit taller, maybe, you might have to angle yourself maybe an inch at most. It's not like you'd have to sleep on a complete diagonal, but just angle yourself, get up on, curl up a smidge, and you'll be fine. The only piece I have to figure out then is on this back, the connection I'll have then to this board to here will face this all and have this inset there. So I need to figure that out. But I have the dimensions I need to build my boxes. So let me just verify that. So if I'm 20 there, this board itself, I said, was 69. So I'm 69 across. So if I'm 69 across, I'm going to subtract 40 from that for the 20 for each bench. So now I'm 29 inches is my table width. So that'll work. And so our table down the center will be 29 inches. And that'll give us that'll give us this with the table across coming right down here, which will work out really nicely. Now that table will, again, I'm coming back to 6 inches. The table's going to come back that 6 inches as well. What I'm going to start out with, though, is I'm only talking about these 2 benches and a table. The table's not going to come all the way to the back of this, because eventually we're going to put a back bench in here. So initially what we'll do, because I don't know that we're going to do this back bench right out of the gate, we want to use the van to just kind of make sure that's what we want. So what we'll do is we'll just cut another piece of wood that when we go into bed mode, we'll just kind of set it in, and actually, even when it's not in bed mode, we could just set it in there. It could be a bench to sit on, etc., or what have you. And the reason we aren't totally gone with that yet is when I was testing out and we were making mock-ups to see what was this like, how was this going to feel, I kind of got into the idea of sitting on this with the doors open and looking out the back. You know, sitting on the floor and just being able to just swing your feet and see out the back. And I thought, you know, that was kind of a cool thing. I'm not 100% sure I want to give that up. But then you get into the issue of, with a bench here, you also have another place for storage right here as well. So we've got to weigh that out. So we'll see what that leads us. So that's the plan. Check back in another video. And as you know, we pull this out, we're going to be building the benches and locking things down, and the plan before the end of this weekend is to start getting this stuff back in here and begin to permanently begin mounting things. So we'll see you soon. Like the video. If you like the content we're talking about, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll see you soon. See ya. Bye-bye.